Let's go!
Alright, so today we'll be doing fossils. Is a kind of underrated archetype, but a few of them actually may see play in the future, so I thought I'd do them with an honorable mention of Snorlax. So, firstly, there are 6 fossils currently in standard. First, we have the Dome Fossil. Next, we have the Helix Fossil. We have Old Amber. We have the Plume Fossil, Root Fossil, and Cover Fossil, right? So, all of these are not considered Pokemon, they are considered to be items. So, that means that you can't actually start the game with them. Also, they are searchable by cards that search for items, like Arven. They all have the same basic hit points here, and the same reminder text. Plays this Pokemon as if it were a 68-point basic Pokemon of the normal type. If this card would be affected by any special conditions, it can't be affected by special conditions, sorry, and it can't retreat. At any time during your turn, you may discard it from play, meaning it can actually just be discarded without giving up a prize anytime you want, and they are resistant to status effects, but because they are items, they don't actually have a retreat cost. But when they are knocked out, your opponent does take a prize. So, they can be discarded anytime, so you can use them as damage dumps, but each of them do have a particular ability before they even evolve up. Because the feature of the fossils are that they evolve into the Pokemon that they previously were. So for the Cover Fossil, it has the ability of Protective Cover, prevent all effects or attacks used from your opponent's Pokemon done to this Pokemon. Damage is not an effect, so meaning Dragapult placing the 6 damage counters, this is unaffected by it. And then it evolves into, you'll see this little Pokemon here, so it'll tell you which Pokemon it evolves into. It'll evolve into Tortuga. So let's go up. Tortuga. So there we go with Ancient Seaweed. This attack does 30 damage for each item in your opponent's discard pile. Could be very strong. I saw a couple people actually try to build this deck, and it came across pretty interesting. If you feel a change in volume, it's because I just shifted the mic a little bit. Surf, 1 water to colorless for 80 damage, and then Tortuga actually evolves into Caracosta. Caracosta is a bit more interesting. With Primal Knowledge, it gives all your Pokemon 30 plus damage before weakness and resistance. So pretty strong boost, and has a 2 water energy attack for 150. With its own ability, it boosts that to 180. So decently strong Pokemon, really good ability, but that stage 2 is what keeps it back. Because remember, as a fossil, you can't search for it with body puffing and those sort of things. So needs a bit of creativity. The next fossil we have will be Old Amber. Same reminder text, but it hit the 68 points, resistance to status effects and special conditions, as well as it can't retreat. But Amber Fossil prevent all effects of your opponent's Pokemon abilities done to this Pokemon. So this one is resistant to abilities, meaning Monkey Dory can't actually put damage on it. It'll still take damage from Dragapult, but you can't place damage by effects. So it will also not take damage from things like Frostlass, and that's pretty good. But please note, damage isn't an ability, so if it gets attacked on the bench, it'll still get knocked out. And our Old Amber is one of the few Pokemon that evolve straight into a Pokemon and don't have to go through like 2 stages, right? And that goes into Aerodactyl. So this is arguably the best of the fossil Pokemon currently in the standard meta. Aerodactyl, 138 points, normal type. That first attack is Glide, 30 damage, not very impressive. But we have De-Evolution Ray for 2 colorless energy that does 100 damage, and the opponent's active Pokemon, if it's an evolution Pokemon, de-evolve it and put the highest stage evolution of the Pokemon into their hand. Meaning you do 100 damage, then you de-evolve it. Meaning this kills most TCG Pokemon in the game, with the exception being Zwellius, because Zwellius has a 110 variant. So, pretty strong. And even worse here for stage 1 Pokemon, even like Golden Go, you'll do 100 damage, Golden Go will live, and it devolves into the first form and dies. So, strongest of them all so far. And I actually built a couple decks with this. Pretty fun build. Let's move on. Next, we have, of course, the OG Helix Fossil. One of the first fossils revealed since the original game. And this one has, again, reminder text, and then as long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, your opponent can't play any stadium cards from their hand. Right. So, the uniqueness of this is, this will allow for a lock, similar to what happens with, I want to say, Copper that's the elephant Pokemon, where they stop your opponent from playing a stadium, and since there aren't any other stadium destruction items or tools currently in the meta, the only way to destroy them is with Pokemon abilities or playing another stadium. So if they aren't playing a Pokemon with the ability similar to the one prize, I want to say Chenpao, so it's the one prize Chenpao. I'll bring it up on screen here. No way to destroy things like not area 0, neutralization zone, meaning that you can't actually get rid of it through normal means. Pretty good. And it evolves into Omanite. Nothing too spectacular. It just bounces the energy and does 50 damage for 2 water energy, 100 points, stage 1. Again, very nice stage 2, but that stage 2 is difficult to get to. With Primordial Tentacles, as long as this Pokemon is in your active spot, your opponent's active Pokemon can't retreat. Again, pretty good. Meaning they are forced to like swap or bounce the Pokemon. But again, that stage 2 is a bit difficult to get to, especially considering you have to find it first as an item and then go up. But Rare Candy does work, so we haven't really seen these broken as yet. Its attack is Aqua Split, it does 90 damage, and also does 90 damage to 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Again, that is amazing and broken, but getting to the attack is the problem. Because 90 damage to one Pokemon, 30 to 2 others, that's pretty strong. That's pretty strong. And all for one prize. So, yeah. Let's go to the next, which would be another of the OG fossils. That would be the Dome Fossil. This one is when I was in the Kabuto with the ability Domed Armor. This Pokemon takes 30 less damage from attacks before applying some resistance. So it's a bit tough. And this evolves into Kabuto with a scratch attack, 70 damage, flip 2 coins, 70 for each. Not the best attack, but not the worst. But Kabutops, as a stage 2, has this insane ability that no other Pokemon has. But again, it's a stage 2, so difficult to get to. So the payoff actually has to be very, very big. Apply weakness to your opponent's active Pokemon at 4 times instead. Meaning, instead of doing just double damage, it does quadruple. Basic maths, if it used to do 50, you're going to do 200. If you're going to do 100, you're going to do 4. Basically guarantees almost a knockout on anything you hit with a weakness with a reasonable amount of damage. Obviously, Buddy wouldn't be able to KO too many things, but you will do 80 damage to things that are weak against it. That's insane. And if your Buddy has any damage amplification, it can reasonably knock out a lot of things that hits for weakness. So, again, not that the fossil cards aren't strong, but they are cumbersome to get to, and they require a lot of build around to use them. Then let's get into the newer fossils. We have the cover fossil already. That's my bad. We have the Plume Fossil here. So again, the fossil reminder text, no change, with the ability to put Plume Protection. As long as this Pokemon is on your bench, prevent all damage done to this by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon. So this one has protection from the damage. Not the abilities, the damage. So this one can't take damage from attacks. Meaning if you attack it on the bench, it's protected. But effects from attacks still work, and also effects from Pokemon are put on it. So each of them cover a very particular niche. And this evolves into Archen. So you have Archetypes right here. Acrobatics, flip 2 coins, 30 for each. Not the worst. And then Archetypes. So Archetypes was the OG star in the Lugia deck. We have a new one that came out in Pokemon Black and White. So Black Bolt, White Flare. With this Archetypes, which has an amazing ability as per most of these fossil Pokemon. But again, getting there is the problem. So Archetypes has the ability Ancient Wing. Once per turn, if this Pokemon is in your active spot, you may de-evolve one of your opponent's evolved Pokemon, putting the highest evolution stage into your opponent's hand. So it's a de-evolution on a stick, but it has to be in the active. Again, decently strong ability, but that restriction of being in the active is kind of a deterrent. And then again, stage 2, and you have to evolve it from a fossil. Again, rare candy is an option, but you need to actually build a deck almost completely around it. Then the final one, and arguably the best fossil of the batch, we have Root Fossil. Root Fossil, fossil minor text again, and then it has the ability Primal Root. As long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, attacks used by opponent basic Pokemon cost 1 color less more. So this is in my opinion the best fossil, because it can actually hold back a lot of decks early game, and it doesn't actually stick you because you can discard it anytime you see fit, and it actually fits in a deck that already exists, which is the decks that increase the attack cost for your opponent's attacks. So that would be things like Espatra. So again, I'll bring Espatra on the screen, and also the field card team, not team, it is Pokemon League Headquarters. So those are basically all the fossils that we have currently in the meta. And again, it's not like they don't have any uses, but they are a bit difficult to get to the most useful part, but they have a very big payoff. Still maintain this is the best, but I ain't forgot, we haven't shown what this evolves into yet. So our Root Fossil evolves into, not Snorlax Doll, Lilip. Nothing to go with your opponent next turn. If an opponent can retreat, 50 damage. Nothing to write home about. We have Cradilly as its stage 2. Again, its attack does 100 damage for each special condition affecting your opponent's active Pokemon. That could be pretty strong, especially for 1 grass energy. And it has the ability Selective Slime. Once during your turn, you may flip a coin. If heads, choose Burn, Confusion, or Poison. The opponent's active Pokemon is now affected by that special condition. So, again, that's a very unique effect. It's a very good attack, but the issue is getting to it. So, that's the rough rundown. And again, my rating of the best ones would be, again, best, because it's actually useful in the active, followed by Amber, which is the best on the bench, and the most active and best of these would be Aerodactyl, because that's the evolution attack. But special mention for Snorlax Doll, which isn't a fossil, but has an ability to go straight down as your active Pokemon, but you can only play it in your setup step. It has 128 points, and it doesn't give your opponent a prize. So it's actually a very good open. But that's about it. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll try to get some more archetypes to you all. Thank you, peace out, enjoy your weekend, bye. And thanks for tuning in. Fuck me, fuck this game, bye.